All right, it is Waiver Wire Tuesday. Welcome to Fantasy Football Live with the Fantasy Sports Boss. Lots of waiver actions to talk about this week, in particular the running back position. So I'm going to go through all the waiver wire options this week. But if you're new to the stream, new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the notification button, and also bop the like button. That helps with the indexing for the channel. Of course, you can post your questions in the chat. We'll get to that as well. Going to update the injuries. And then tomorrow, another live stream, probably around 5 o'clock Eastern time, as the first injury report comes out tomorrow. And certainly it's going to be a busy injury report day because, like I said, there's a lot of running backs that are nicked up, that are banged up. We're late into the season now. Certainly, some big names that have some question marks surrounding them, namely Josh Jacobs and Christian McCaffrey. And we'll go through all that. Again, thank you for joining the show. And already questions are coming in. Fran Inglesby's asked me a few. Should I pick up Gus Edwards or drop Jaylen Warren? No, I would stay with Jaylen Warren. I know he missed week 12 with the hamstring injury. If he does return, he could be looking at a significant amount of touches this week because Najee Harris, suffered an abdominal injury. It may be a big deal. It may not be. We don't know yet. And certainly the short week is going to play against Harris in terms of playing for week 13. So we got to see. And then you also asked me defense this week, Minnesota or Kansas City. I would go Minnesota because, Kansas City against the Cincinnati Bengals, that's not a good matchup in terms of defense, even though Kansas City's been playing very well in terms of their defense. Should I drop Najee for Pacheco or Brian Robinson for Pacheco or Burks for MVS? I would not drop Burks at all. He's really coming on now, Chris. If you want to drop Najee for Brian Robinson, I would do that. Brian Robinson is going to get the majority of carries now going forward. So I'm certainly down with Brian Robinson for sure. All right, Stephen Drakes with the first super chat, $4.99. Thank you, Stephen. Murray on a buy. Should I start Carr or Lawrence? Also, is Snell a priority pickup? I wouldn't say Snell is a priority pickup just because, again, Jaylen Warren might play this week. We still don't know if Harris is going to play. If we get more, it's hard because, the waivers go in tonight. I wouldn't say he's a priority. I would definitely go Zonovan Knight ahead of him. I would even go Jordan Mason ahead of Snell, Stephen. So I'm not totally in on Snell, but I would pick him up for sure because we don't know the injury status of Najee Harris and also Jaylen Warren. As far as Carr and Lawrence, I'm going Lawrence. I really like the way he played against Baltimore. I think he's got a fairly decent matchup. He can run a little bit unlike Derek Carr, so that's always a bonus. So I'm going to go Lawrence for this week. And, I know Carr was good last week as well, but, I think Lawrence has more a dynamic ability that he can throw it and run it. So I'm going to go with Lawrence there. And thank you, Stephen, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. It does help with the channel. So, again, much appreciated. Thank you for supporting the show. Taking these questions. Would you rather start Mark Andrews or TJ Hawkinson? Denver's a tough defense, but I would probably still go Mark Andrews. The Jets defense is legit. It really is. So I don't think TJ Hawkinson is going to have an easy time. I don't think anybody really on Minnesota. And I'm really curious to see how Sauce Gardner, how the battle against Justin Jefferson is going to go. Gardner's already shut down Stephon Diggs for an entire half in their last game. So Diggs was shut out in the second half of the last game between the Bills and the Jets. So I'm really looking forward to that matchup. Certainly more, I think Adam Thielen looks like a very good play this week just because, again, Jefferson's going to be dealing with Sauce Gardner. But I do like Mark Andrews better. He should have had a touchdown reception. He totally bonked it. I mean, it was pathetic the way he dropped that pass. Lamar Jackson, I know I criticized him last week, but there was like at least two. Demarcus Robinson dropped one as well. Drop passes in the end zone. Could have had a better day. Benny Snell will never be a priority pickup. I don't think he's a priority pickup, Keenan. Definitely. I like some guys definitely a little bit better, but everybody views players differently. Dag Nabbit, what's up with you? Glad you could join us. Now, as far as the waiver wire this week. So I looked at all the running back situations and certainly have Jordan Mason because Christian McCaffrey's got a knee irritation. Elijah Mitchell's out for the season. Zonovan Knight, who comes off a very impressive game, 100 plus yards, 17 touches, caught the football really well, ran with good power. Michael Carter's got a low ankle sprain. I don't think he's going to play this week. And then you have Melvin Gordon now signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. is Melvin Gordon already a better option than Isaiah Pacheco? It's going to take him a little time to get up to speed. Kyron Williams, if he's still available, he should be picked up. So there's a lot of running backs that need to be added off waivers. Got in late. Who's your number one waiver wire pickup? All right. So as far as my number one waiver wire pickup, I'm going to go Zonovan Knight. Again, Michael Carter's not going to play this week. There's something going on with James Robinson that he was deactivated. I don't know if the staff is down on him a little bit, if he's hurting physically, but the Jets coaching staff, and I'm from New York, so I know this for a fact, have been very high on Zonovan Knight. They call him Bam Knight all season. They've been really looking for an opportunity to get him onto the field, and they did obviously in week 12 and had some very good results, 100+ yards, got a lot of touches, caught the ball really well out of the backfield. Ty Johnson, I know he scored a touchdown, but he's only going to get about 5 to 6 touches. It could be a run-heavy script. There's going to be a lot of opportunities here for the Jets against a Minnesota Vikings defense that hasn't played well this season. So I'm going to prioritize Zonovan Knight over everybody else. Being said that Jaylen Warren is not available. If Jaylen Warren's available, I would go Jaylen Warren just because I think he's going to play this week, and I don't think Najee Harris will. And Warren has shown some explosive ability and ability to catch the football. So I would prioritize Warren. Now, right behind Zonovan Knight, I'm going to put Jordan Mason. So we've already seen with Elijah Mitchell, he's gotten like 8 to 10 carries consistently, even with Christian McCaffrey in the fold. Mason looked pretty good filling in for Mitchell when he got hurt. MCL sprain, second time this season for Mitchell. Just guy has no luck on the injury front. So, I think that Mason will get, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 touches this week. And McCaffrey's got a knee irritation. So if that flares up on him, all of a sudden Jordan Mason could be the starting running back on the San Francisco 49ers, which is a plush assignment. So I'm going to have Jordan Mason right behind Zonovan Knight in terms of waiver wire priority this week. Hey, boss, new subscriber here. Oh, welcome to the show. I really appreciate it. First year on fantasy. Do I start Pickens against Atlanta or Jeff Wilson revenge game against San Francisco? That's a tough matchup. I don't like that matchup for Jeff Wilson against San Francisco. I would go Pickens against Atlanta. That's a very soft landing there for Pickens. I know he didn't catch a lot of passes yesterday, but the big playability is there. The 49ers defense, you saw what they did to Alvin Kamara, and Kamara is a better player than Jeff Wilson. So, Rain, I'm going to have to go with George Pickens. And again, thank you for subscribing, joining the show. I really appreciate your support. Hey, boss, would you trade CMC for Saquon? Could also do CMC and Olave for Saquon and DK. I like that one better. CMC and Olave for Saquon and DK. You hate to trade CMC, but I do like DK better than Olave. I would do that second deal, Gerard. 49ers running back, the most dangerous job in America. Yeah, I mean, seriously. And even Trey Lance, who's like sort of like a running back in a quarterback's position there. The amount of injuries they have is crazy. You're right. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's something with the field. I know here in New York, the Giants Jets Stadium, they're ripping up the turf at the end of the season just because there's been a ridiculous amount of injuries for the players that have been playing on that surface there. I thought Carter is day-to-day. He's day-to-day, anti-Slayer, but he has a history of being a slow healer. And even if he does play, Zonovan Knight played so well last week that he's still going to get work. So I don't think it's if Carter plays, then Knight's not gonna is a waste of a waiver spot. Hope you're right about JT. He put up nice numbers last night, but didn't look great. Anthony, he's been good the last 3 weeks, honestly. I know the Atlanta Falcons are. I say Atlanta Falcons because of Matt Ryan. The Indianapolis Colts are a mess offensively. They have been all season. And Jeff Saturday is completely in over his head. We saw that last night when he bungled the timeouts at the end of the game. Just absolutely ridiculous. But the ability is off the charts. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is a tremendous player. He just needs to get some blocking. Matt Ryan's got to take pressure off of the defensive line there. So, I think he could win leagues. I really do. I still believe in the talent. Trevor Lawrence, Dak, or Watson this week. I'm not going Watson. I know it's the Texans. I want to see the rust knocked off first before I use him. Listen, the Cowboys are playing so good right now. I got to go Dak. That offense is, and I do like Trevor Lawrence this week, but that offense is just humming right now for Dallas. You got my name right when you said it. Yes. Yeah, Ray. Yeah. I'm glad I got it right. Thank you. Just traded away Saquon for Terry McLaurin and Foreman. What do you think? I'd rather have held on to Saquon. I know I've been a little critical of him lately, and certainly he's going to be facing a lot of stack boxes, but I understand why you did it. Listen, Foreman's been good. He's been quietly very solid. He's getting a lot of work. Carolina's playing very hard for Steve Wilkes. That's one thing I will say. They're playing hard every week. They're trying. I think Sam Darnold propped up DJ Moore a little bit. So that's that team is still giving its all there. All right. As far as some other waiver wire priorities this week, Michael Gallup, I would pick up if he's available. He's coming off a really good game. Odell Beckham is not signed yet, although I keep hearing he's going to the Cowboys. Kyron Williams, if he's still available, he's about 38% owned right now. He's going to be the starting running back this week. Well, I mean, he may not get the actual first carry. That could be Cam Akers, but he's going to get more touches. He got more touches than Akers last week. Akers is completely washed. I think he's going to be out of the league within a year. He's just completely done. That Achilles injury has just ruined his career. He's got no speed. He's got no burst. Whereas Kyron Williams, at the very least, can catch the football. And in PPR leagues, he's going to collect some points just on that alone. I do like Zay Jones, who's available. Actually, he's available in about 70% of leagues, which is crazy. I know the one thing about the Jaguars is they spread the ball around. So 1 week it's going to be Christian Kirk. 1 week it's going to be Zay Jones. 1 week it's going to be Evan Engram. It's a little hard to pin down fantasy-wise who it's going to be, but I certainly would pick him up. Van Jefferson, I know the quarterback situation isn't great, but he's still out there in a lot of leagues. Isaiah McKenzie only has 33% ownership as we speak, which is absolutely insane. He's a slot guy. Buffalo, Josh Allen was really looking for him heavily last week. Played very well. I think he's overtaking Gabe Davis as the second most impactful receiver on this Buffalo team, and he should be picked up off a waiver wire. I'm going to pick up Melvin Gordon too. Listen, he signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's about 48% ownership right now. So about half the leagues that Gordon is owned in, I would pick him up. I mean, why not? If something happens to Isaiah Pacheco, you have Melvin Gordon who can run it, who could catch it on the Kansas City freaking Chiefs. So yeah, you got to pick up Melvin Gordon if he's available. Better add Knight or Zamir White PPR. If it's PPR, it's Donovan Knight. Zamir White doesn't really catch the football. That wasn't known as a strength of his in college. So I certainly would go with Donovan Knight over him. Trying to get Garrett Wilson of the Jets. Yeah, that's a good idea. I thought Elijah Moore would be more involved than Garrett Wilson, but the talent is undeniable. I said Jamison Williams was my top receiver coming into the draft. Without the injury, he would have gone ahead of Garrett Wilson, but I had Garrett Wilson number 2. Both guys are just phenomenal players. So those are the players that I think you should prioritize off waivers. It's getting late in the season. It's certainly crunch time. It's a nerve-wracking time. So, we got to nail these waiver picks this week. Like I said, in one league I'm 10-2. I've clinched a first round bye. I'm really stoked about that. The other league I'm 7-5. I'm in the 6th spot with 6 teams making the playoffs. So I really need to win this week. Thoughts on holding James Cook? Yeah, you can do it. I mean, he's getting more and more work. He's getting an increased snap share. He's catching the football. Devin Singletary is as boring as it gets, but he's effective enough that he's still going to get work. But, James Cook as a handcuff, certainly worth it. All right, so checking out some of the injuries. Aaron Rodgers told Pat McAfee today that the scans were good and he's going to play this week. And he has a very good matchup against the Chicago Bears. He wants to play until the Packers are eliminated. I do admire that about Rodgers, as much of a nutcase as he is. It's certainly a very tempting matchup. So, if you're an Alan Lazard owner, if you're a Christian Watson owner, you feel better, or even, especially Aaron Jones out of the backfield, you feel better that Aaron Rodgers plays rather than Jordan Love. On one of my teams, I have both Lazard and Watson. I've been playing Lazard over him. I didn't play either guy this week. I haven't even played Watson yet, and every week he's putting up insane points. I'm going to play him this week. I'm going to bench Alan Lazard and just see how that goes. But, of course, then that means Lazard is going to catch 2 touchdowns this week, and Watson's going to catch maybe 2 for 10 yards. Daniel Bellinger might play this week for the New York Giants. The Bellinger, if you need a tight end, he was playing quite well before he suffered that scary eye injury. So he's going to be getting back into the fold. Now, as far as Josh Jacobs, Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, says that Jacobs hopes to play in Week 13. He's not going to practice much at all. This is weird to me. So, he had the calf issue popped up on the injury report last Friday. He had another calf scare during the game, and yet he got 30-plus carries. 48-point fantasy game, an all-time effort. Unbelievable, no doubt about it. But you have Zamir White behind him. You have Amir Abdullah, guys who are capable backs behind him. I don't know. I don't understand what the wisdom was for giving him that many carries if he, had some kind of a calf injury. It didn't make any sense to me. So, and now he's not going to practice this week. I don't get it, but that's Josh McDaniels for you. The guy doesn't know what he's doing. So, Zamir White should be picked up. Amir Abdullah is really just a third down back, I should say. The Chargers is a fantastic matchup. So, if Jacobs can play, he just might go over 40 fantasy points again. That's how good the matchup is. Michael P., what's up with you? Is it Snell or Knight? Knight. I'm going Knight over Snell. Should I still try to trade Saquon and Christian Watson? If Aaron Rodgers shuts it down, what's it going to be like with Jordan Love? I really don't know. I've been very hesitant to dive completely in on Christian Watson. I had him on one of my teams. I've yet to play him, and every week he puts up points. So shame on me, I guess. Saquon, is he hitting the wall a little bit? I think so. Opposing defenses are stacking the box. So I would put some feelers out, see what you can get for him. Holding on to White one more week. Yeah, you might as well hold on to him. I don't think it's going to hurt you giving it another week. Knight or Ty Johnson? Knight. Definitely Zonovan Knight. Listen, the coaching staff was very happy with how he played. Robert Saleh gushed about Knight when he met with the media today. So he's going to get more work. I really believe that. Daniel Bellinger, Saquon Barkley played. Yes, Daniel Bellinger is a terrific blocker. He was known as a blocker coming into the NFL. Did not catch a lot of passes in college at San Diego State. Underutilized in that side of the game, and he has shown with the Giants that he could catch the football. He can contribute offensively, and he is a swell blocker. And Keenan is right. When Bellinger was on the field, Barkley did his best work. Who are you thinking as far as tight end right now? I have Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett's going to be fine. The Raiders, that AFC West, they play shootouts every week, so this can be another shootout. I think Gerald Everett will be just fine. I don't think Mike Williams is going to play again this week, so that should give him a leg up. You're welcome, Dag Nabbit. Death Lord, how you doing, buddy? Joined the stream late. Hope you're staying up late. Got some good questions for you. Hey, man, hit me up. That's what I'm here for. Any updates on Josh Jacobs, and you feel like the Raiders should held him out somewhat? Yeah, he should not have gotten 30-plus carries. That's absolute bullshit that they gave him that much work. Criminal, really. The guy's having an unbelievable season. The best value of anybody in fantasy football. And we all missed on this. Let's face it. He played in the Hall of Fame game. Nobody saw this coming. Look, the Raiders don't pick up his option. Just a horrible move on their part. And, to give him 30-plus carries, I don't know, what was it, 35 carries? That's just criminal. To do that to any back. And, with Saquon Barkley, I said it a couple of weeks ago when he got his 35 carries, he hasn't been the same since. That is a lot of work to give to a running back. And, a lot of times they bounce off of such a big effort there. And I think we're seeing that now with Jacobs with, the calf injury again. So that's something that we're going to have to look at. I want to check out some of the other injury issues this week. So Jacoby Myers says he's going to play. That's good to know there. He was banged up, was in and out of the game on Thanksgiving, which is frustrating for his owners, and I'm one of them. But he looks like he's going to be good to go. Josh Jacobs right now, number 2 fantasy running back at the position. Only running back. Yeah. Austin Eckler, who went round 1. Josh Jacobs, who went round 5. So Josh Jacobs is the epitome of a league winner. He has been unbelievable. So Von Miller addressed the knee injury today, did not tear his ACL. Meniscus, there is meniscus damage, so he might be out the rest of the season. The regular season, can he come back for the playoffs? Possible. All right, so Allen Robinson officially done for the season. They moved him to the injured reserve list. Damian Harris did not practice with the thigh. He's not going to play. So Ramondre Stevenson, who I absolutely am in love with fantasy-wise, is going to have a huge day again. He's been so good. Nobody's really talking about Ramondre Stevenson too. Everybody wanted him in the preseason. I made sure I got him on one team. He's been phenomenal. Next year, he's going to be a late first-round pick. While I don't use first-round picks on running backs, I would feel really good about drafting Ramondre Stevenson. Should I trade Evans and Cooper for Hill? That's a lot, Sean. That's a lot. I wouldn't do that. I know Evans has been struggling, but I wouldn't do that. That's a little bit too much because don't forget Deshaun Watson is coming back. Amari Cooper might even have the best numbers of the three of them the rest of the way. White or Pacheco and flex. That's a hard one. That's a hard one, Joe. We don't know the situation with Leonard Fournette. That's why tomorrow I'm going to do another stream so I can update this a little bit better. I would have to say Pacheco just because it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Fournette will play, and that's going to probably lead to a 60-40, 50-50 split. So I think Pacheco is the better play. But, White catches a lot of passes. I guess, Joe, my answer would be if it's a standard league, Pacheco. If it's a PPR league, I would probably go White. Best running back in fantasy between these five: Ken Walker, Austin Eckler, Barkley, Jacobs, Jones. All right. I'd say the best running back. I mean, you got to say Josh Jacobs right now. You got to the proof is in the pudding. Oh boy, that's a tough one. I have Kenneth Walker last just because he doesn't catch the football. The other four guys do. I would rank it if I had to draft tomorrow. I would go Jacobs, Eckler, Barkley, Jones, Walker. I think I would take Jacobs over Eckler because he's younger. Should I start Mike White or Jimmy G? Mike White, he had that huge game against the Bengals, and then he turned to mush against the Bills last season. Jimmy G's playing well. I would say Jimmy G, lukewarm endorsement. Hey, boss, do you think I will still be okay with the Bills defense Thursday with Von Miller out? That's a big loss. That's a big loss, Rain, for sure. But the Bills unit is they still got a lot of good weapons. I think you'll be okay. Deshaun Lawrence or Mike White to replace Kyler. I'm going to go Lawrence. I love Deshaun Watson, but after this week. Eckler, maybe Jacobs if he stays healthy. Yeah, it's close. The only thing I will say, Keenan, about Eckler is I believe he's going to be 28 next year. So we're getting into that danger zone. If not 28, he's going to be 27 plus. That's getting into the danger zone. Next season, I'm completely out on Joe Mixon, who's going to be 28. I'm completely out of Alvin Kamara, who's going to be 28. I'm completely out of Derrick Henry, who's going to be 29. Yeah, not taking any of those backs. And I'm going to, in next year's fantasy football draft guide, I've already decided I'm going to put a whole section together on all these new commandments that we've learned this year, such as drafting the dual threat quarterback, avoiding receivers that are 30 and older, avoiding receivers that have shoddy quarterbacks, stuff that's obvious, but stuff that we continue to ignore, myself included at times, like with Kyle Pitts this season, like with Keenan Allen. So I'm going to put all that into a section in next year's fantasy football draft guide. All right, Pollard or Sanders this week? You got to go Sanders. He's hot as hell, and he's going to get more work than Pollard. Was this for next year? Yeah, definitely Jacobs. I'm all the way out on Eckler. Yeah, 2 huge years in a row for Eckler. I just can't see him doing a three-peat. Thoughts on Christian McCaffrey's injuries, dealing with knee soreness, and with no Elijah Mitchell, it's only going to cause more concerns. Yes, Death Lord. Listen, I'm shocked we haven't seen him miss any games to this point. And listen, I'll hand it to the guy. He's managed to stay healthy. As much as we knock him, he's stayed healthy this season. But now is that starting to show up? Latter part of the season, wear and tear. He too is an older back. I think he's 26. He'll be 27 next year. I'm going to have trepidation about Christian McCaffrey next season. And, the 49ers are trying to spell him with Elijah Mitchell. They're not trying to give him too much work. They have the long-term view in mind of winning a Super Bowl, and I think that's smart. And Kyle Shanahan's not an idiot. So I will see if it works going forward, but I am a little concerned. I would assume McCaffrey will be limited tomorrow. If he misses practice, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But if he's limited, I think he'll be fine. Start Zay versus Lions or Burks versus Philly. Zay Jones, because Burks, whether it's James Bradbury or whether it's Darius Slay, the rookie Burks is going to be going against two of the very best, maybe even the top 2 cover cornerbacks on advanced metrics this season in James Bradbury and Darius Slay. A rookie against 2 all-pro cornerbacks. The cornerbacks are going to be advantage to them. Start Rashad White, Jeff Wilson, or Jamal Williams. I'm going Jamal Williams. Listen, the guy scores every week. Jeff Wilson has a horrible matchup. We just saw what the 49ers did to Alvin Kamara. So I'm going to go Jamal Williams. I mean, I think he's an every week guy, no debate. I mean, all the touchdowns he's scoring, he's running it fairly well. Severely underrated season. And he too can be considered somewhat of a league winner. Just can't wait to hear the news. Josh Jacobs headed to IR. There goes my guaranteed fantasy champ. I don't think it's that drastic. But again, I think it was ridiculous the amount of work that they gave him, this past game. Josh Allen, full participant in practice. Darnell Mooney officially put on IR. So that sucks there. Even if Justin Fields comes back, it's going to be tough sledding, not having his number one target. So, that certainly is a decent sized bummer because Mooney had been playing well lately. Cole Kmet obviously is still there, but who else is he going to throw to? I mean, Byron Pringle. They need to get Khalil Herbert back. I think the Bears need to just shut down Justin Fields. There's no reason to play him. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be shut down if they lose another game. They're not going to lose to the Bears. And like I said, I think that having Rodgers back in the fold this week will help. Alan Lazard, Christian Watson, keep them viable. Thoughts on Nick Chubb rest of season phenomenal. Nick Chubb has had a phenomenal season. He's going to be even more phenomenal with Deshaun Watson because now Watson, who can throw it down the field, unlike Jacoby Brissett, that's going to soften up defensive lines. It's going to give Chubb more room to operate, fewer stack boxes, and he's already phenomenal. Sold high on Lazard and Foreman for Waddle a few weeks ago. Wow, that's a great move, Jeff Johnson. That is a great move. Really shrewd. Well done. Quick question out of fantasy. Was just wondering, did you ever do football in your past, like in high school? Yes, played football, and I do coach high school football. I do that. My main job is in education, and I coach high school football. Our season ended a couple of weeks ago, but I've been doing fantasy for better part of 15 years. First with my website, and now doing this channel. I transitioned away from the website just because it got to be too much. A lot of typing, a lot of just, constant updating. And I feel the channel is just a lot less labor intensive. And I do enjoy doing the streams and whatnot. And I still do my 2 annual draft guides. I do 2 books a year, the NFL prospect draft guide and the NFL and the fantasy football draft guide. And I'll be selling those on the channel here. They're also going to be available on Amazon and available on barnesandnoble.com. Yes, ML, I am a coach, football coach. So I'm an assistant football coach, not a head coach. I'm an assistant football coach. I coach wide receivers. I did play wide receiver in high school many, many years ago. So here on Long Island. So that's my main job that pays the majority of the bills. Maybe one day if this channel grows even more and I could do this full time, great. But that's what my main job is. What about Pittman versus Jamal Williams? I gotta stick with Jamal Williams. The other than JT, I'm not really into the Indy offense. Gainwell, a premium flex. I don't say MJOM. I don't think he's a premium flex. He's a premium handcuff, that's for sure. I've been holding Gainwell for weeks. He's got skills. He too can run and catch the football. If Josh Jacobs doesn't play this week, who do I pair with Aaron Jones? It's between Antonio Gibson, Pollard, and Jeff Wilson. I would say, that's tough. Not Jeff Wilson because the 49ers are rough. I would say Pollard. The Commanders love what they got now with Brian Robinson. I think they're going to go back to the well there. Jamal Williams for sure, dude. Yeah, touchdown every week. Yeah, he scores every week. That's what type of receiver were you back in the day, boss? Oh, I was a slot receiver. Not overly fast, but I ran pretty good routes. So you could call me Wes Welker or whatever, Julian Edelman. That's kind of the player that I was. I was a slot receiver. So I coach receivers, high school football. How would you rate Juju right now? What they did with Juju Smith-Schuster? So, he had that horrible concussion. I'm sorry, guys. Did I just lose you for a second? I just got a alert that the stream got interrupted. I apologize for that. I hope you can still see me. Juju played. I think he caught 3 passes, but his snap count was way down. Sky Moore played quite a bit. The Chiefs in the past have players coming off injury. They will put them in the active lineup, but they'll either not play them or they'll give them very limited snap counts. And that's what happened with Juju Smith-Schuster. And it really screwed his fantasy owners. I don't own him in any of my 2 leagues. I do like Juju. I think was a terrific buy this season, and without the concussion, he was really on a roll. I think he's safe to deploy this season. They're going to need him. They're going to break the scoreboard this week, Kansas City and Cincinnati. So I would put him out there, but that was very frustrating what happened with his limited snap count. Pollard over Antonio Gibson. Yes, very slightly though. Who would you flex this week? Palmer, Pickens, Patterson, or White? That's tough. I'd have to say if Mike Williams is out, I'm going to go Palmer. If not, Rashad White. It's hard for me to trust Tony Pollard right now with Elliott healthy. Yeah, but you know what? Elliott was healthy the week before that, and Pollard went nuts. So I still think he's going to get his. It was just a down week for him. That's all that was. How would you rank the following for the remainder of the year? Jelani Woods, Zonovan Knight, Tyrion Davis-Price, Corey Davis, Hunter Renfrow. I know it's gross. Yes, it is quite gross. Zonovan Knight probably ahead of Jelani Woods, ahead of Corey Davis, then ahead of Hunter Renfrow, ahead of Tyrion Davis-Price. So Knight first, Woods, Davis, Renfrow, Price. My season's over at 4-8. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Randy. Jonathan Taylor, biggest bust ever for the first 7 weeks. Yep, there's no doubt about it. I wouldn't say ever, but he's up there. Thinking about going wide receiver first 3 rounds next year. Christian McCaffrey was just as big of a bust last season. Thinking about going wide receiver and Saquon Barkley with the ACL. Think we go wide receiver first 3. Yeah, listen, I would go wide receiver, Travis Kelce, wide receiver, dual threat quarterback. And then you can just fill in running back from there on. Josh Jacobs was a 5th-round pick. I mean, look how that turned out. I did high school football, play receiver, tight end, outside linebacker. Wow, that's some combination, Rain. Outside defensive end and receiver. Good for you, man. I know I miss those days. I do miss playing. Any news on CMC is questionable? Jesus Christ. Yeah, Johnny, it's more of the same with this guy. I'm surprised he wasn't injured prior to this. He's actually made it further into the season than I anticipated. It's knee irritation. It sounds like he's going to be okay, but tomorrow will be the telltale. If he's limited, I'll feel better about it. If he misses practice, then I'm going to get a little bit nervous. Speaking of who would you rather have flex, a wide receiver or a running back? I'd like a running back at flex because they could contribute both receiving and running the football. Is Knight more of a 1-week player or potential rest of season? That's hard to say. James Robinson's still there. Michael Carter, who I don't think will play this week, will come back. I think he might be a 1-week play for now, Chris. But there is potential. The coaching staff loves him, and I think they're willing to try it again, considering how good he was last week. Darnell Mooney out for the season. We'll have a ankle. So yeah, that's a big loss, and it should just further give the coaching staff of the Bears pause about putting Justin Fields back in there. Same bro. I play X receiver and some cornerback. Yeah. I definitely miss playing with the one thing about playing slot receiver too. You were able to catch a lot of short passes and create after the catch, but you also took some big hits. So Price or Mason, if he doesn't go, Mason. I know Price is a guy that they are high on there, but I would give the lean to Mason. Another huge factor for drafting running back next year is the craziness this offseason. We'll have so many. Yeah, that Randy is right. There are a ton of running backs. Tony Pollard is free. Saquon Barkley is free. There are a lot of backs that are going to be hitting the free agent market. I don't know if all of them are going to get paid either. They all might kind of siphon money off of each other because it's such a flooded market. But there are a lot of backs that are out there on the market this season. I think Saquon Barkley is going to be franchised. He's not going anywhere. I think Tony Pollard will be franchised as well. So we'll just have to see. I played wide receiver, free safety. Yeah, I do miss it too, Dagnabbit. Is it safe to drop Palmer at this point if I'm a Keenan Allen owner? Not yet. Until Mike Williams comes back, you don't drop Palmer. And even as insurance, he's not a bad guy to have on your bench. Diggs, Rondale Moore, who's injured, DPJ. No, I wouldn't do that, Blue Crew. I would hold on to it for another couple of weeks. All right. So wide receivers should be your first pick of fantasy because they're good running backs in the later rounds. Yeah, I mean, listen, Josh Jacobs, perfect example. If I have the top pick next year, I'm taking Justin Jefferson. That's what I'm doing. How are your leagues going? You going to make the playoffs? Yeah, Randy, I already locked up the number 1 seed, first round bye in one league. I'm 10-2. My other league, 6th place and 6 teams make the playoffs. So I'm right over the line of making the playoffs. I'm 7-5. A lot of frustration. I come off a game where I played against Josh Jacobs, got my ass beat 180 to 130 something, and my 130 outscored the other 10 teams. So I just happened to draw that bad luck of playing the guy that went off this week. So, hi William, how you doing? I really just hate that part of fantasy football. I'd rather do the all play where every week the top 6 scoring teams get the win, the bottom 6 get the W, or you can do the dual thing where you have that aspect. You play 2 games a week, top 6 scoring teams get a W, bottom 6 get the loss, and you play somebody one-on-one. So you could be 2-0, 1-1, 0-1, whatever. So, if you have a 14-week season, you have 28 decisions. Saquon and Olave for Ramondre and Lockett. I love Ramondre Stevenson. Lockett's been great. I like Lockett better than Olave. It's not a bad trade, and Saquon is hitting the wall, so I like the Ramondre Lockett better. Chances Cooper Kupp is the same player next season with the injury that he suffered. He's had he had the ACL a couple of years ago. I think he'll be fine. He'll be another year older. The problem with Kupp, if Matthew Stafford retires, then you have to knock Cooper Kupp down, probably behind Diggs, probably behind Devontae Adams, probably behind Tyreek Hill, because Stafford has this insane infatuation of throwing the cup that I don't think the next quarterback is going to be that hell bent on getting the ball, to Kupp on every single freaking pass. So I feel like cornerback is tough. One bad rep and it's over. Yeah, it's definitely tough, Keenan. You're absolutely right. But yeah, I wasn't fast enough either to play on the outside. That's why I played the slot. And I was a fairly good route runner, whatever, however you call it. But I did like the slot receiver because it was like a chess match trying to set up the slower, nickel corners and things like that. A-Rob is another bust. Yeah, he was a bust. Damn. There were a lot of busts that the whole, myself included, fantasy football community was wrong about. I'll take the hit on Allen Robinson. I'm definitely taking the hit on Chase Edmonds. How many people drafted Chase Edmonds above Josh Jacobs? And it certainly looked like it. They gave him $6 million guaranteed, 2-year contract. It looked like that he was going to be the guy. And boy, did that blow up. I don't even know why they bothered signing him. Boss said Lily lost last week to Etienne getting hurt. Yeah, that's tough. When you lose a guy right at the start of the game, especially someone like Etienne, who you're expecting to get a high allotment of points, that really puts you well behind the 8 ball, and it's tough to recover. And it looks like Etienne, I didn't mention Jermichael Hasty because Etienne, I think, is going to play this week. And also Darrell Henderson is going to be joining the team. So I don't think that Hasty would have that much of a impact if Etienne were to miss. He really effed me too. He really definitely in one of my leagues. So rank these 6 wide receivers all time in fantasy. Wow. All time. God. Devontae Adams first, Diggs second, Hill 3, Kupp 4, Jefferson 5, Chase 6. And that's obviously because Jefferson and Chase are younger players. They haven't done it as longer. Devontae Adams is just an unbelievable, just gem, stud, whatever you want to call him. I thought Edmonds, Dobbins, and Bateman were going to be so good this year. Yeah, listen, at the end of the season, guys, I'm going to go over all these mistakes that everybody collectively made, and I'm going to try to find a common denominator there so we don't make those same mistakes next season. Yeah, that is very difficult to rank for sure. Darrell Henderson should help keep Etienne healthy, getting too many touches. Yeah, Etienne, not the most durable player, going back to his college days at Clemson. He runs funny too with his foot jutted out when he cuts, leads to a lot of foot injuries. So, Etienne is somebody who is very scary to me next season as a late first round, early second round pick. He's going to be in that DeAndre Swift range. And talk about a bust, DeAndre Swift. My goodness, what a gigantic bust he was. And perhaps we should have known that too, because we know Dan Campbell loves Jamal Williams. Can you see Josh Allen managing his injury the remainder of the season? Yeah, listen, he was good on Thanksgiving. I know he's scattering more passes than usual because of the elbow, but listen, he put up a huge amount of points, and he did the job. From a fantasy perspective, I think Allen's going to be just fine. Mike Evans and ETN last week. Yeah, Mike Evans, man. I did the crisis point video on him. part of it is Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin finding his stride now off the ACL injury, off the hamstring injury. Part of it is maybe wear and tear of the season. 30 years old, guy's never missed time ever really in his career. That's a lot of reps, a lot of hits that he's accrued over the years, and so that could be coming to roost now for him. Do you go hero running back in your drafts? No. I never do hero running back anymore. Last couple of years, it's hero wide receiver. Kamara sucks too. Yeah, Kamara's shot. I'm out on him next season. He's going to get suspended anyway for a couple of games. I'm done with him. Would you take Tyreek Hill over all those receivers I just mentioned because he's the fastest receiver in the NFL? He's basically a walk-off touchdown. No, I want Devontae Adams over him. I think Devontae Adams is just an impossible cover. There's more. I think Tyreek Hill has had more dud games than Devontae Adams over the last 3 or 4 years. So I'm Devontae Adams there. Swift, so frustrating, especially what he did week 1. Yeah, Swift was it just didn't happen. It just simply didn't happen for him. And he's always hurt. Brandon Ayuk, a decent wide receiver too. Yeah, I like Brandon Ayuk a lot. He's an ace receiver in that offense, not Deebo Samuel. Start 3 running backs: Barkley, White, Pacheco, Gibson. Bench Gibson, start the other 3. I went here running back on some teams, and most of my teams I went receivers. Here running back teams might have worked out better. Hey, listen, I mean, what I will say, this season, a lot of the first-round backs have held up. Barkley, CMC, Henry. Last season and even the season before, it was a disaster. Barkley and all his injuries. Henry was hurt last year. CMC was hurt each of the last 2 seasons. Swift, Mixon. There were so many injuries among the running backs the last couple of years. It was Montgomery. It was beyond ridiculous, and it made the wide receiver strategy more attractive for me. Devontae Adams is incredible, Randy. I don't understand the Swift thing. Monster got the injury, but let him play. Yeah, I mean, Michael, he's got a lot of natural ability. He's very explosive, but they love Jamal Williams. He is a leader. He's productive. I mean, the guy scores touchdowns. He's like Ezekiel Elliott in this offense, and Tony Pollard. Swift is like the Tony Pollard, a little just less work. Devontae Adams makes Carr look better. Yeah, certainly. And you know what? He's doing exactly with the Raiders that he did with the Green Bay Packers, and it really speaks to how good he is. Everyone keeps telling me that I have a good receiver core. Should I be expecting more from this trio or dump one for Ayuk? A.J. Brown, Lamb, Olave. Yeah, that's a swell threesome. I like Ayuk slightly better than Olave, but, Lamb is fine. I don't think, he's never had that 90-catch season, CeeDee Lamb. We all draft him expecting that every year, and it doesn't happen, but the yardage is there. The touchdowns are there. He's a phenomenal player. A.J. Brown pisses me off because from game to game, it's up and down like an elevator. There's never any consistency from game to game for A.J. Brown. It's been the hallmark of his career going back to Tennessee, has continued on in Philadelphia, makes him tough to depend on. Although I think he is sitting on a big one this week. He's been too quiet for too long that I think he's going to go ape shit this week for sure. So everyone Devontae might be a slight fade next year. He is turning 30. That is true, but he's showing no signs of letting up. But that age thing is something I am concerned about. ETN, Wilson Jr., Pacheco, A.J. Dillon, White, Kyron Williams. Who's benched? Dillon. I'd say you got to bench Dillon. Although Wilson does not have a good matchup. Do you any best ball leagues? No, I don't do any best ball leagues. No, I don't do any of that stuff. I can't. I'm not into those. Stuck between James Conner and Jamal Williams. Played Williams this week and Conner performed better. Played Conner last week. Yeah, that's how it goes, Brian. That's tough. I mean, James Conner is getting all the work, but they're not playing this week. So you got to go Jamal Williams by default. So Arizona's got the bye. But going forward, I mean, you can just play the matchups. I had a quarterback between Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. There's tier 1 list of quarterbacks: Patrick Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, Herbert. Yes, definitely. Burrow and Hurts for sure. I really like Green Bay's backup. So here's a question: Hurts or Mahomes next year? That's an interesting question. Which one do you take? I really like Green Bay's backup throwing a tight end spiral. Yeah, listen, Jordan Love, he has a lot of accuracy issues. I didn't like him coming out of college just because I don't like quarterbacks coming into the NFL with accuracy issues. Josh Allen has been the one example of a player whose accuracy improved in the NFL. Improving accuracy is very difficult for quarterbacks. So one sacred rule with drafting quarterbacks is if they have bad accuracy in college, it's going to carry over to the NFL. Jamarcus Russell, Kyle Bowler, Keely Smith, Tim Couch, guys who had poor accuracy in college, certainly carried over into the NFL. Josh Allen's been the one example, tremendous example of a guy who actually improved. And it's not often that happens. What picks do you choose at your 2-3 turn? Didn't you have the first? I did have the first pick. I did take JT. Lesson learned. I'm going all receivers next season. And my other pick was 4th overall. I took Justin Jefferson. Alan Lazard droppable for DPJ Mullins Burks. Maybe Burks. I do like Lazard, but he's been bad lately. Telling you, Matt Presley, I would go Jamal. He's guaranteed touchdown. Yeah, he is every week. But Connor's not playing this week, so you have to go Jamal anyway. Which one do we add to that list? Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. Hurts, easy, because he runs more than Burrow does. Hurts versus Mahomes, I feel like Mahomes he's more touchdown dependent as far as passing game than Hurts because he does all the running around. But either one, I don't think you could go wrong with either one. But I do think for myself, I'm going to end up with either Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson next season because I'm going to let everybody else take the Mahomes, Hurts, spend the 2nd, 3rd round pick, and I'll use a 4th or a 5th on Watson or Jackson or even Fields. Kamara and Jefferson for Barkley and Hopkins or AJ Brown. Wow, there's still trades going on, huh, Baba Fett? Kamara and Jefferson. I can't stand Kamara right now. For Barkley and Hopkins. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I would take Barkley and Hopkins or Barkley and AJ Brown. You don't want to trade Jefferson, but Kamara's just been dog shit lately. Hurts has been huge for sure, Rain. Who did you pick at the 3-2? The 2-3 turn. Who did I pick at the 2? Oh, I took Kelsey. That's the league. I had Kelsey at the end of the 2nd round. And Fournette. So I ended up with Fournette. My first 3 picks were Taylor, Fournette, and Kelsey. And really, Kelsey's the only one that worked out. But I'm 10-2 because Ramondre Stevenson really panned out for me. I took T. Higgins in the 4th round. He's really paid off for me. I got Lamar Jackson in the 5th round. He's been fairly good. I picked up Justin Fields during the season. He's been phenomenal. Alan Lazard was good the first half of the season. I have him. Rashad White, I have him as well. So it's worked out fairly well there. Start Geno or Watson? Geno. I'm not starting Watson until next week. Would you be willing to take Kelsey in the 1st round next year? Maybe late first. Late first, yeah. He's 35, though. But again, Tony Gonzalez went his whole career putting up ace numbers, never really showed any decline. Nick Eagles probably end up with the better running back. Yeah, well, I mean, Sanders having a good year. I think he might be a free agent too, if I'm not mistaken. But I could see that. Lamar Jackson is better than both Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts combined from a fantasy perspective because he runs the most. Yeah, but definitely I disagree. I think Jalen Hurts runs just as much, if not more. So, and Josh Allen, certainly the better passer, and he runs for 700 plus yards a year. Yeah, as far as TDs, it's definitely Josh Allen and Hurts. Hurts has been phenomenal. He really has been. And that's I think he'll be I think the kid coming out of Alabama too. He reminds me of like a Hurts, Kyler Murray kind of player. So we'll have to see. Hurts recently started running a lot more. Yeah, he's running a lot lately. The passing game is slipping a little bit. It hasn't been as impressive. I don't know if that's a philosophical shift because we're getting into the bad weather. The Eagles did that last season. They became very run heavy down the stretch. I don't know if this is by design, but it got them to the playoffs last year. They're the favorites in the NFC right now, although I prefer San Francisco. So, Philadelphia is really playing really well. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. We did about an hour. As far as who's more underrated, I think Hurts is underrated. Why is Knight a priority on waivers projected to break out? Yeah, listen, Brian, he played really well. I think they're going to give him more run this week. That's why. And I think Michael Carter is not going to play. Fields, I think, is definitely a very impressive runner with his speed. Yes, but I don't know about his health. That's the only problem. So anyway, guys, live stream tomorrow, 5 o'clock or 5:30. So look for the notification. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Thank you for the super chats today. I really appreciate that as well. Yeah, guys, have a good night. I'll see all of you tomorrow for the stream. Just be well. And again, wait for that notification for tomorrow. Take care, guys.